Here we go again, going live, and I'm very excited about this one. I am speaking with Ian Garry for the very first time today. So let's wait for him to join, and I can get him involved. How are you all doing? Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you might be. Hello, Dan. Dan's in the house. Petesy's in the house. Waving. How are we? Just waiting on Ian to join. I have never spoken to Ian before, so this is going to be kind of exciting. I've shared a couple of messages with him. A lot of people are talking about him. So, hey, listen, Petesy, like big stars already, right? Big stars already. And we have limited time as well, because I've been told that Ian has a little bladder. Ian, Ian, if you can try and request to be involved in this. Here we go. Right, we're going live. Let's see how this works. Let the wonder of the internet do its thing. There he is.
What's the story, pal?
How are you?
Good, man, good. I do have a little bladder today because I'm drinking 10 liters of water as the water load. So it's like I need to go, so I need to run.
If you can put a peg in it for us,
I will do my very best. Of course I will.
How you doing?
Great, man. How are you?
Yeah, doing all right. I'm excited to talk to you. You know,
Likewise, dude.
I didn't think it was going to be right now, but I'm glad we're doing it. So you have a big fight.
The faster I'm on, the longer we've got.
All right. Okay. So you got something coming up pretty soon?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Big fight coming up.
Yeah, I like the fight as well. I've been watching your career and Jack's career for a little while now. I didn't think necessarily that I saw you two guys meeting for the welterweight strap, but here we are. And I mean, is it a fight that excites you?
Every fight excites me. I mean, like, it's such a purity going in there and getting to show off your skill set against another guy who's trained to do the exact same thing. So Jack's a great fighter, and for me to be able to win there and beat another guy who's so highly rated, it's all I ever want. I always want to compete against the best, and I really have a lot of respect for Jack and his team, and I just want to go in there and do my job.
Nice.
I'm really looking forward to it. It's what I've said I've been looking forward to since day one. I made my pro debut on February 16, 2019, and I said, I'm going to win this belt. Watch. And we're here now. We're very close. So it's happening.
Great stuff. Well, look, I want to get to know you a little bit better. And I'm sure that the people who follow me, you know, are probably quite biased towards the UFC.
Of course.
Let's find out a little bit more about Ian Garry. I've got a few questions, but let's talk about your last performance, shall we? And a bit, because that was quite something. Was that a good representation of your overall skill set, do you think?
Aspects. Overall, a good assessment of overall aspects. I only utilize what I need to utilize in that fight. So for example, a lot of people talk about in this fight is Jack Grant's going to have the edge in the grappling. He's an elite level grappler. That's where Jack's going to win the fight. That's what people have seen. People have seen Jack utilize his grappling to win fights, and he's very good. I've never needed to use grappling. Anytime I have, I've finished two guys in the first round. All right, I got a rear naked choke, sub the guy unconscious, elbow the guy till he gave up. Right? In every grappling situation I've been in a fight, I've won, I've dominated. So for me, I don't utilize it because I don't need to. I'm so good on the feet that I decide what happens. So for me, it's about picking people apart. And when I decide grappling is going to happen, it'll happen. If someone closes distance to me and maybe gives me a shock, I'm like, oh, he got in fast. Well, then I'll go, all right, let's show you why people don't see the grappling. You know what I mean? They don't want this. But I enjoy, the reason I like to strike and the reason I like fights like that is because it's universally understood. We could watch a fight that we've no idea about anything, right? This guy could be a legit world champion in kickboxing, right? But we don't know. He goes in there and punches someone in the face. We know that's good. We know
Yeah.
someone getting
Yeah.
punched in the face is a good thing. If we're talking about the best grappler in the world and he's trying to take that guy down, we're like, not everyone understands it. If we're talking about my aunties, my uncles, they don't know what's happening in the grappling aspect. It's only true people who are involved in the sport. Whereas when I kick someone in the head and knock them out, everyone's like, okay, all right, that's good. I know that's good. So I'm a crowd pleaser. I enjoy watching fights like that. Do you know what I mean? I find jiu-jitsu is beautiful. It's an art form where you can mold and manipulate someone in a way that they don't necessarily want to be manipulated or manhandled in that fashion. But you can counteract it by your strength, your technique, your understanding, your brain, your mindset can beat that person. But striking, it's the exact same, but it's understood. It's violent, it's beautiful, and everybody in the world, every person on the planet knows a knockout is a good thing. Knows someone getting punched in the face is good.
Well, can you talk us through then your shot selection, because it's a really lovely sequence to set up that head kick, and I'd like to understand why you chose the shots that you did and how you were able to get the finish.
So obviously we're very lucky. I was very lucky to know that Rostam had half an hour of tape in the UFC. So we had two 15-minute fights, two decision fights in the UFC, which both he lost. But
So
Dan Hardy said it really well on my fight. When you listen, if you watch it back, he gave a good account of himself. He did not go in there and get outclassed or beat up. He went in there and put on two solid performances. Just unlucky with all COVID and the UFC dropping people with losing records and stuff because of the pandemic. It is what it is. But I watched his tape and I seen a shot. I was like, right. And I talked to my my kickboxing coach, Phil White, brilliant coach, right? And every time he stepped, so he liked to switch stances. He was very comfortable switching between orthodox and southpaw, something I do a lot myself, just to change people's views. Every time he stepped from orthodox to southpaw, this hand came down. This hand came down. And I'm like, if I throw a jab and a right high kick, he's going to lean off to the left. If I throw a right hand, he'll lean off towards the right to get away from any other shots. Because a lot of people, if they're listening, they should know the mechanics. If I'm throwing the right hand, you don't want to lean left because that left hook will follow.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to land a head kick, especially clean. Distance, control, pace, power, everything. So what I did was I threw the right hand, and it was beautifully aligned. I threw the shot a couple of times in the fight where it was like I just threw it up to see how it would look, how it would feel. Did he get the read of it? I caught him twice with it, but it was like kind of just a slap on the hand or just on the top of the forehead. This one I fully committed to because I feinted in. He threw a big left hook. I stepped back and went, oh, I've got you. The cage it's like a story. It's like a fairy tale. This cage was leaning towards my right. So he had to go this way because of the angle I was attacking him from. And I just went, this is it. In my head, I went, go now. This is the opportunity. So I went heavy. I, on purpose, loaded up on the right shoulder so that he would lean in the direction of my right head kick. So I powered it through. And then, again, Dan Hardy spoke beautifully of it. The little smoke screen. The little hop, hop. And it was just on that second right hand that I just wanted him to kind of keep going away from it. And the shin just was perfectly on the chin. And it was just on that second. One of my favorite parts of that knockout is as I kick him and I bring my foot down to the mat, my base widens. I'm ready to attack. And it was only midway as my legs opened and I was ready to land those extra shots that I went, he's done. Yeah. And just got that little walk-off KO. It is like a fairy tale. It was absolutely beautiful. And it was very satisfying for me, having called it, spoken to my coach about it, and spoke about, like, I like this sequence. I think this can work. And then it coming off in the fight. So hard work pays off.
Yeah, I mean, I like the way that you're seeing it in slow motion. And I particularly like the way that, because I think people will see 3 shots in that combination, but
Yeah.
you've added the shot, you've layered it a little bit, and you didn't need to throw the kitchen sink at it
No.
with that right leg. And
No.
because if it didn't land the way that you liked, as you said, you were set to go again. And I think that's showing a certain maturity and a calm mindset. Do you think that that's a real strong suit of yours, the way that you're able to stay in without that chaos in the mind?
Yeah. So I think that's what I absolutely think is one of my greater kind of assets is my composure. When I'm in that cage, everyone was talking about it, the last 2 fights, right? Rustam and now Jack Grant. Well, the 2 fights. Everyone's talking about this is the toughest test of my career, the most experienced guy I've fought. Jack Grant may be experienced, and Rustam was experienced, but I fight in a calmer mindset than both of them. I'm composed. My thought process isn't hindered by what's he going to do. It's just all right. I'm so confident in my ability due to the hard work I've been putting in for years that when I step into that cage against whoever it is, I'm well aware of what I can do to you and what you can do to me. And I'm not worried about what anyone can, any damage or any pain someone can inflict on me, because I'm like, okay, cool. I want to do this. Like, I've signed up to do MMA. Like, this is what I chose to do in life. I'm well aware of the potential outcomes from what you're going to do, but I'm also well aware of what I'm going to do to you, and that's the chances of that happening are a hell of a lot higher than what can happen to me. So it's just the confidence. It's confidence in knowing that I've been in positions in training, and as I've grown up, and I've seen the development from when I've been in bad positions to understanding, okay, now I know what to do here. I've done X, Y, Z. I know what happens with A, B, C, and it's a constant evolution and a growth of hours and hours and hours spent training to get to where I am. So I'm just confident, and the composure is something that I feel sets me apart from a lot of fighters. You see a lot of fighters go in there, their heads up. You know that I can look into someone's eyes and go, I know what he's thinking. So I'll sit there and I'll hold these little shots, like he's going to go for a teep, a right high kick, a jab, and I'll do this. I know what people are going to do. I can just see it. It's very strange. It's how my brain works. I can't explain it to you in any other way than it's like I can just read your mind to an extent. Like it's kind of, when we're in that spark, we're in that flow state, and I look at someone, I can just see it. I can just see what's going on in their head, and I really enjoy that environment, that pace, that feeling. It just makes me feel really calm. Every time I fight, I get more composure, more calmness in that cage, and it's something I really thrive off.
Yeah, well, it's showing. If fans haven't seen you fight before, what couple of fights would you recommend they go check out to get a good perspective of your style?
My pro debut, James Sheehan. I fought him on 7 days' notice. He was a high. By the way, before I say this, all the fighters I fought are really good. I just make them look shit because I'm that good, right? Let's just put that out there. Because I've seen a lot of people talk about.
I heard
you was shit.
I heard you were shy, and I knew this was going to be a challenging conversation.
Honestly, like, it is something I do have problems with. Is my self-confidence. I struggle at times.
You can work on it. You have time. You're very young.
Yeah, it's something that can definitely be improved on. But so all the fighters I fought are really good, but I'm just of a different level. And I've said this before, there's levels in this game, and I'm just better than everyone. And it'll just keep consistently showing every time I get into that cage. When I step in against the UFC, which is inevitable, people are going to understand what I'm talking about when I just do the exact same thing I've been doing since that fight to this fight. But my debut in Cage Warriors, my pro debut, was against James Sheehan. And he was a highly touted, he's an amazing fighter, made of granite. I broke my hand, my knuckle, about 30 seconds in. I can't remember exactly when it is. He was on the ground, he's moving his head against the cage, and I caught the top of his skull, and it just hurt. I fought for about 14 minutes on my pro debut and beat up a guy with just this. I just was smart, just jabbed, picked my shots smartly, dominated the fight, even in the grappling exchanges. And I went in there and showed what I'm made of. That was fighting through adversity on my biggest stage like I've ever fought on. Like, fighting at 7 days' notice, it's kind of a rush as such. And I went in there and I was so calm. The second fight, I would say, if we're going to say 3, is to go in there and watch the George McManus fight. My fight against George McManus was, again, cool, calm, composed. I knew everything that he could potentially do to me, and I knew it wasn't going to faze me. It wasn't going to happen. I went in there in the second round. I had figured out my distance. I had figured out the control. First round, I kind of just went easy, see what's up. Second round, I went, this is it. I'm going to finish him now. I think I landed about a 40-punch combo to finish the round, and it was something like Josh Palmer and Brad Warner spoke about on comms. Is they like how I take my time with the finish. They've never seen me rush a finish, or you see people kind of go, "Oh, this is it. I can get this fight now," and then they get caught, or I don't need to finish a fight. John, if I'm in a fight for 25 minutes with Jack Grant, I'm in a fight for 25 minutes. I'm having fun in that cage. Tell me whether I'm hitting him in the face or I'm getting hit. I don't get hit that much, but I'm having fun. It's enjoyment. But that fight was just, I was in a flow state. I was just having the time of my life, and it was just the minute I hit him, I didn't even know I dropped him when I finished the fight. He was doing the Bambi legs as I hit him. I didn't even know that because I just turned around. That's it. He's done. That little scream over to the commentary. But I would say that fight shows my composure. All three fights show composure and a lot of striking. If you want to watch grappling, I would say go back and watch the Matt Figlak fight. Matt Figlak is one of the best prospects in the UK and Ireland. He's a very, very, very talented fighter. He's a very good fighter. Again, he's just not better than me. I highly rate him. I think when I leave, he will eventually be the champion and he will be in the UFC. I think he's that good. He caught me with a good shot. I was a bit kind of timid. I was a bit flat-footed. Cracked me a right. Didn't wobble me. Just took the feet from underneath. I'm like, right. He threw a kick, caught the kick, put him up against the cage, ragdolled him, took him down, choked him unconscious. People want to see the grappling. A year and a half ago, 2 years ago, go back and watch that. You'll see the difference. And if you can imagine it was that good then let's see how it is now if we have to go into grappling exchanges against Jack Grant. Nice.
Now, I'm conscious of the time, mate, so I'm going to skip about a bit. I'd normally try and do
100%.
this chronologically, but just let me know when you're.
The bladder's doing well so far, so we're good.
So what's the dream?
I've had this. I really like this question, right? Because I have a really good answer. When I have a really good answer, I enjoy it. The dream is to be successful, right? It's money, fame, all of this. It doesn't entice me to want to do the sport. With success, that is going to come. Obviously, with like the more successful I am, the more people are going to know me. Do you know what I mean? Like Conor McGregor had the most success in the sport, like on such a fast trajectory. He's one of the world's biggest superstars. Everyone knows his name. They don't know what the UFC is. Everyone knows Conor McGregor. I want to be successful, and I want people to inevitably, when they speak, when someone sits down in an MMA gym and they're like, and I've had this conversation multiple times myself with my friends, my teammates, my family, who's the greatest of all time? And people are like, oh, well, GSP, and then they're like, oh, John Jones, but he's got an asterisk, you know what I mean? Then they talk about Anderson Silva, but like Dick Pills, and then they talk about, there's so many conversations, you know what I mean? Demetrius Johnson, but he's too light. Do you know what I mean? He didn't get all these conversations. It's all opinion. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think John Jones is the greatest of all time because of the dominance he's had in the sport. Someone would absolutely sit in front of me and go, GSP. He's never had any question marks. He's been dominant for his entire career. Lost 2 fights, avenged both of them. That's someone's opinion. And they have like a conversation about it. I want my name in that conversation. I want people, when they go, who's the greatest of all time? They go, GSP is really fucking good. But then someone goes, yeah, but if he fought Ian Garry at the prime, would he take him down? Who'd win on the feet? I think Ian would beat him. He's got better cardio. That's success for me, because it's never going to be guaranteed that I will be the greatest of all time. Like, you could sit here, who's your favorite fighter of all time?
It's hard for me to, on this side. I mean, you've mentioned a couple there. Yeah. You know, Anderson Silva and GSP really piqued my interest. Yeah. I love John Jones' creativity. It's really difficult to answer.
Exactly. That's my question. It's hard to pinpoint. And for you and me to be sat here, I want someone to throw my name in the conversation. Be like, what about Ian Garry? And then you go, fuck yeah. All right, yeah.
How do you land in the conversation then?
By doing exactly what I've done for my entire career. Up until this point, I've done nothing but succeed and go in there and give everything I can every fight. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to go in there, do everything I can to win. And like, look, I'm a realistic person. I'm not stupid. I know that there is a chance that at one stage I can get caught or I can get subbed. My nana could knock me out potentially if she put on 4-ounce gloves. Do you know what I mean? It's just, she hits me in the right place. You're like that Dell, you're gone. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not stupid. I know the risks and the rewards in fighting, but I will do everything in my power when I'm in that cage to ensure that I am going to come out victorious. And if I can continuously do that for my career, like GSP, if I have a setback, I come back, I rise above it, and I prove how good I am. But I want to go in there and stay undefeated and prove how good I am and remain this pretty. I don't want to get marked. I don't want to get scars. I don't want to have like cauliflower ear. I don't want to have like soft tissue scars on my face. I don't want that. I want to, do you know what I mean? Like I want to be brandable. I want people to go, I like him. He is good for the brand. He is good for everything we do. That's what I want to be. I want to be the face. I'll be the face of the sport. You know what I mean? I'll take that. That'll be successful. That's how we can get in that.
To offer.
Hey, look, if you don't dream big, you're not going to make it there. Do you know what I mean?
I'm only yanking your chain. No, I like it. What do you think's helped you, apart from obviously your competence in martial arts, but what's given you the confidence in not just being able to express yourself in the cage, but I can already tell, you know, you're a guy who's early on in the career and you know how to tell your own story. So where does that?
Well, I feel like, and this is something I've spoken to about, and not really a lot with. I don't really openly speak about it in a sense. Not nothing too personal, but just I've never really sat down and talked to someone about it. But I feel like it's my childhood. I feel like my childhood and my upbringing has a lot to do with where I am now as a person. Between the ages of when I was born to 13, 14. Even longer maybe. My dad spent a lot of time in hospital. He was very sick. My mom was working full time while me, my brother, and my sister were trying to figure out whatever we were doing. We're going to school with friends. I trained a lot when I was a kid. You know what I mean? I was so active. I had people coming picking me up, bringing me to training sessions, bringing me everywhere. And because my mom couldn't do it, she couldn't be in 7 places at once to pick my sister up, my brother up, to drop me places. And I was always kind of lucky that I had people to help me. But I was also very, very out there at such a young age. I was confident. I'd speak to people. I'd have no problem sitting down and talking to someone of a young age, or like when I was a young age. And I think that just kind of built me up to be the man I am right now. And it's going to build me up to be the man I am throughout it. And I'm also very, very fortunate to be in the position. And I know this is something that I definitely don't speak about, but my mom and dad lost a child due to umbilical cord being wrapped down his neck 3 times. And he was a year old. He was born the year before me in October. The following November, I was born. So my family had gone through a loss, suffering. And then I come into the world and everyone's so excited to see this new baby boy, and they get that taken away from them. And that's obviously hard for my family. And obviously I wasn't a part of that, so I don't know, but I still know, I can still feel the feelings that they felt. And I think as a young boy, I would never have felt it, but the love I received from my nanas, my granddads, my friends, my family, my mom and dad tell me that when they were leaving the house to go to the airport, or to go to the airport, to go to the hospital, that like all the neighbors were up like doing this out the windows and like standing out and going like best of luck. And when I came home, then it was just such a relief and a love and a joy that I think that also is why I don't think negatively. I don't care about negatives. There could be the biggest negative in the world. Like I don't want to speak about stuff, but like I could lose my family tomorrow and I would still find the positives in that, because it's like, well, I look at all the memories I've got. Do you know what I mean? I will always look at the positives. I will always look forward in life because we only have one. What's the point of sitting around and like just stressing or worrying about the negatives? Just enjoy what you've got, run with it, and spend the best time. Enjoy your life as much as you possibly can, because that is life. It's about enjoying it. So that would be something that I would maybe potentially put it all towards, but don't really speak about it that much.
Well, listen, mate. Thank you for sharing that. I think, are you called does that make you a rainbow baby? Is that what they're?
I have no idea, but I just know I received a lot of love as a child, and it's definitely added to my positivity in life.
It's beautiful to hear that the village raised you, and that's one thing. So how do your folks and your grandma, how do they feel about your career choice?
Oh, they didn't really have a choice in that one. That was on me. That was a decision I made all on my own. It was what I wanted in life, and I will always do what I want. It is the way I am, and I will never let anyone kind of sway my judgment. I will always do exactly as I want, because it's my life. So yeah.
Okay. How long have we got? You got to shoot off?
Yes, very soon. Maybe we have time for one more.
All right. Well, let's go with how it all ends next week for the belt.
Ian Garry stood in that cage, getting his hand raised, that belt wrapped around his waist after a beautiful, violent stoppage. Don't care how. That's how it happens.
All right. Looks like a pretty strong way to finish this up. Been a pleasure, Ian. Thank you very much.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Stay pretty, and we'll be catching up soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
All the best, yeah?
Enjoy.
Thank
you. Take care.
Cheers.
See you now.